we saw in the previous game. But all these division games, when you go into it, you kind of have to feel it out, see how they're going to play, type of thing.
Did you see the report about the Seahawks linebackers saying that they were able to understand what your checks were and knew what was coming in the fourth quarter?
I did not see that. No.
When you hear something like that, does that concern you? Like, how often do you have to mix up your checks between games to keep defenses off balance? And do you think that they may have had a read on you?
Well, I think our coaches do a good job of that week in, week out. Getting the game plan together, tying, runs, pass, whatever it is. But yeah, I didn't see that report. We'll just have to work harder, I guess.
After looking at the film, how do you assess the wide receiver play? Obviously, a slew of drops kind of plagued the night for you guys offensively. How do you assess that, and what did you see on film?
Well, whenever there's drops, it takes a guy throwing the ball and catching the ball. So obviously, I could throw it better to make it easier on those guys. And it's those guys work their ass off. They really do. They come in every day with a good mindset. And it's just when your number gets called, you got to take advantage of the opportunities. Because in this league, we all know you don't get many of them. So when you do, you just got to take advantage of it.
Suggested after the game that in overtime you guys should have been more conscientious of the possibility of a tie, going for a tie on that last drive. How do you think going for a tie would have played among players, among you guys?
It's tough. You got to trust the coaches, Kyle, and their decision making with it. Whatever they decide, they're doing what's best for the team. And so as players, you just go out there and execute it. So whatever they decide, we'll back them 100% on it.
But you want to win, right?
Absolutely, yeah. You never want to. It's hard to play for a tie. I don't know if I've ever done that before, and it's I'm glad we went for the win.
Kind of going back to that first question, what do you feel like you have learned about the Cardinals now that you've been able to watch more tape on them?
Well, they're a fast defense. They fly around. Everyone's around the ball, 11 guys. Up front, they got some talented players, and so we'll have to account for those guys. And in the back end, they make it tough on you. They don't give you any easy completions, and so we know that going into the game, and we'll have to be ready for that.
How much time did you get to spend on watching the Seattle game, just knowing you have the quick turn and have to kind of turn the page real quick?
You spend the day or yesterday watching it and everything, breaking it down, and we did a little bit of it today, and then it's on to Arizona. So it's on these short weeks, it's tough.
What's been your just kind of read on how guys have flushed that one away and moved on so far?
I think we have a good mindset with it. Guys, last 2 days, everyone was in here yesterday working on the day off, and then today it's just there's a sense of urgency in the building. It's good to see that.
Do you get involved at all in changing up, the checks and potential trends and even snap count? Is that something that you're cognizant of going into every game?
Yeah. Well, snap count, obviously, yeah, we control that and everything. But the checks, every game's a little different. The game plan that the coaches put together is always a little different week to week, and so it's just our job as players to take that in and just regurgitate it on the field.
Mike Mazinchi talked about how it kind of took him a little while to get back into it, kind of get his groove back on during the game. Did you see that kind of progression between all three of those guys that were back after injury?
I could imagine, being away from the game for however many weeks they each were. But yeah, it takes a couple, plays, series, whatever it is for each individual. But I thought those guys battled. They fought out there.
Obviously, news coming out yesterday was, Josh Haley fractured finger. How difficult does that make it for the offense, with the revolving door of tackles, right? Obviously, Joe misses, an extended period of time. School comes in and replaces him. He's back in and now he's back out. How difficult does that make it for you guys?
It's tough, but that's football. I'm glad we do it in training camp and OTAs as much as we do with the mixing and matching, just because injuries are going to happen at some point throughout the season. Especially up front, those guys work hand in hand so often together that it's good to get that practice in. You never wish injuries upon anyone, but it's just I'm glad we got that practice in.
As a quarterback, what's the balance you need to strike with it being in the moment, dealing with drops from receivers, versus also being able to be encouraging or try to keep those guys' confidence level high?
Yeah, there's a fine line between it. You want to pick guys up, especially after, tough drop or whatever it is. But, like I said before, it takes a guy to throw the ball and catch the ball to, complete a pass. And so I just got to be more accurate, make it easier on those guys and help them out.
Are there things you can do during the week? I know you've spent some time after practice with the manual recently. Are there things like that you can do that maybe help, or is it something where it's just different because it's a game scenario?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the more reps you get at, the more practice, the better off you'll be. But you know, we've been pretty good up until this point, and then you know had a little bit of a fluke in this last game with the drops and everything. But it's you can't overstress it. You know, let those guys go play, let them play ball, and they're gonna make plays. They're good players out there.
The old saying is it's never as bad or as good as you think. So after this game, what do you think was good about? What encouraging things did you see from Monday night?
The fight in our guys was unreal. It really was. You know, it was a dogfight out there, and we knew what kind of game it was going to be. You know, division game. They're always tough and everything like that. But it's you know how guys responded throughout the ups and downs. No one really got too emotional on the sideline. Everyone was pretty consistent, and that's what you want to see in a close game like that.
Were you able to learn anything about life without George and adjustments that you might need to make going forward if he doesn't play Sunday?
Well, I thought the tight ends did great. You know, they did what they needed to do when their number was called. You know, they made good plays and everything. So yeah, kind of one of those is what it is kind of situations.
You mentioned the fight in the team. You know, just considering the barrage of injury you guys face, is there any, you know, I'm going to say the word moral victory, but is there anything that you guys can take away just knowing you guys are severely, you know, undermanned, but you guys were able to kind of hang in this one?
Yeah, well, there's no moral victories in the NFL. So, you know, a loss is still a loss at the end of the day. But, you know, a game like that, experience like that for all the young guys, it'll serve us well going forward. That was a playoff atmosphere that we were in. And so it'll only help us going forward.
Was there one throw, Jimmy, that you look back on that you felt you should have put the ball in a better spot?
I'm sure there's, you know, multiple. I can't think of one specific one, but yeah, I mean, whenever there's a drop, you can always make a better throw, put it more on their body, whatever it is, just to make it easier on those guys.
Yeah, the final throw you had to Debo down the sideline, it looked like the cornerback made the play on it. And
Yeah, he made a great play. You know, left it a little short. Wish it would put a couple more yards on it, give Debo a better chance at it. But the guy made a good play on it, and you know, those are tough.
Through these 3 years, I mean, it's 2 losing seasons and then going undefeated until Monday. What's the barometer of the locker room like at this point?
Very consistent. It's been like that the whole year. You know, guys, like I said, yesterday and today have come in with a good mindset. You know, people, we're not dwelling on that on the loss. We're moving on to Arizona, and I like where we're at right now.
Nice one. All right.
That's it. All right. See you guys.